Good morning, Teotihuacan pilgrims. On a beautiful morning it is in the Texas Hill Country, and I hope it is wherever you are as well. And I want to begin today just by saying how grateful I am for you and for our endeavor and for the Teotihuacan Pyramid Academy community. We're really, I think, privileged and gifted by the sacred web to be able to be together here today, and especially to be able to be together in the context and energy field of the pyramids. During our last gathering a month ago, I brought up some scientific interest and research in the effect of the pyramidal structure on human beings. Even until this day, no human creations of the 20th century and 21st century have quite equaled the impact, the density, and I would say the power of the pyramids. So we bask this morning, even at this distance, in the power of the pyramids. So to begin today, I want to invite Judith to offer a song that will be a beginning prayer. And if you happen to know this song, I invite you to keep your muted, because when we try to sing together, it's quite an experience. It doesn't work too well with a 30-second delay. So Judith, welcome to the circle today.
Thank you, Will. Thank you all for being on this call today. And I just want to mention how much your paragraphs have meant to me when you were giving your feedback about the Pyramid Academy. And thank you so much. They all bring back wonderful memories and great insights. I have a kind of an allergy problem right now, so I'm going to do my best to sing and try not to sniff in the middle of it. And here's a little song I think you all will remember. We are remembering who we are. We are remembering who we are. We are remembering. We are remembering. We are remembering who we are.
Oh. And also, Heather Ash, I pass the talking stick to you.
The virtual talking stick. Thanks so much, Will, and thank you, Judith, for that beautiful song.
Thank you.
So it's so good to be with everyone today. I want to welcome the folks that are here live so far: Deborah, Kathy, Lily, Michonne, Nancy, Sheila, Teresa, Teresa. Yay! And then there's a phone person, but I don't know who you are because it doesn't say. So welcome everyone, and welcome to those of you that are calling in or listening to this recording later. We are embracing our entire tribe, and I know that there'll be more people coming on as we continue. Hey, Lynette. So let's do a grounding to connect all of us and to bring us back into the field of Teo more consciously. So if you close your eyes, and taking a breath into your belly. And as you exhale, just really let yourself settle. Releasing anything from the past that is tugging on you, any busyness, any worry, just breathe it out. And let's imagine ourselves on the plaza in front of the Pyramid of the Moon. So after that beautiful walk down the Avenue of the Dead, imagine that we can meet on the Plaza of the Moon, and take a moment to anchor yourself there by remembering an experience that you had on that plaza, what it felt like to gather with our circle, whenever that was for you. And imagine that you can look around and see the Pyramid of the Moon ahead of you, the Pyramid of the Sun to the side, feeling how the Pyramid of Quetzalcoatl is all the way down the avenue. And that we've now come to this place of the second mouth of Quetzalcoatl to rebirth ourselves. And let's imagine that we're going to call in all of the wisdom Tosi tribe that has been coming to the pyramids over the last 5 years. That will bring all of us together. So it's a large group, a big circle. And imagine that we're sitting in this large circle on the Plaza of the Moon. You can feel the pyramids around you and the mountains circling the pyramids. You can hear the sounds of people talking, of the vendors and the whistles. You can feel the earth and the stone beneath you, the wind on your skin. And then into this circle, call in one of your favorite memories or an impactful memory that you had in Teotihuacan. It might be something that happened at the Dreaming House or at Quetzalcoatl, perhaps meeting the Angel of Death, or going through the plazas, Earth Plaza where we buried ourselves, the Water Plaza where we cleanse and purify our emotional body, the Air Plaza where we clear and open our minds, connect to our hearts, or the Fire Plaza where we release our spirit and worked with the male and female. It might have been a time that you climbed the Pyramid of the Moon or the Pyramid of the Sun. But pick one specific instance, a memory that you have that impacted you around Teotihuacan. And call that memory in really strongly into your body right here, right now, and also into this vision of us meeting on the Plaza of the Moon. So we're bridging this time, this place, back to Teotihuacan, and linking it also to a specific experience that you had. So bring all three of those together. Good. And imagine this circle on the Plaza of the Moon that we all hold hands. And as we're holding hands and looking into each other's eyes, that we're sharing the gift that we received from Teo with each other. Feeling that sense of community and connection and spirit flowing between us. And let's also call in our ancestors. So honoring our altar building and inviting our ancestors to join us today, once again. Good. And imagine now that you can put your hands on the earth at that plaza of the moon and just say thank you to Teotihuacan. Thank you to the ancestors and the elders of Teotihuacan who walked before us, who created this incredible university for us to come into our own, to reconnect with our light. Good. And now breathing in all that energy, bring yourself back into this place and this time, and put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And really consciously now call in the energy of Teotihuacan into your body here. Beautiful. And then one more piece before we open our eyes is I'd like you to ask your body and to ask Teotihuacan how you can stay connected even more. How can you continue to bring this energy forward into your life, especially through the holidays? How can you stay conscious of your connection to the wisdom of Teotihuacan? So asking your body, asking your own wisdom, asking the land of Teotihuacan, how can you continue to deepen your relationship with Teotihuacan and with your experiences? And how can you bring them into your life more? So listening for any information, any guidance, for the words or the feeling. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and be present here. Yum. So one of the things that we'll play with today is sharing with each other how we're integrating Teotihuacan, and then perhaps sharing what message you just got about how you can bring that wisdom with you more into your day-to-day life. Because as always, when we have power journeys where we go someplace and deepen with the land. We want to learn how to really bridge it back into our lives so that we're carrying that wisdom with us and letting it inform our choices and our decisions. And especially at this time of year, I'm so happy that we pulled this call together to reconnect, to remind ourselves as we go into the holidays, how do we stay connected with each other, with ourselves, and with the wisdom that we're reconnecting with more and more, that we're remembering. How do we keep remembering? So let's go through the folks that are on the call. And if you have called in, let me go into the chat really quick. Okay, good. So if you don't want to speak, those of you that called on the computer, if you don't want to speak, you can always chat, but I'm going to invite you to come on and talk with us, and then we'll unmute the folks that are on the call, the phone, if we can. I'll find out from Dan in a moment. So let's go ahead and start with Michonne. And the question is, how are you integrating, and what was the message around what you want to carry forward? Hey, Michonne.
Hello. How am I integrating is the first question. It's been the things that we came back to and what has happened in the last month in general. It has been very movie-like. So I've really concentrated on not necessarily concentrated, but I've really noticed just the difference in returning to mundane time and how sacred time just kind of weaves in and out of there. And like we were discussing while we were there, that it is always really sacred time, and just how I can bring more of that into my daily life. As far as the message that I just got while we were in that meditation, or that reconnection with the Teo energy, it was a bit overwhelming and made me realize that maybe I'm not, haven't been as in touch with it as I could consciously be. And I'm mainly saying that because I got like a wave of nausea almost, kind of when I was in Teo, I was expecting it, and so it wasn't as nauseating, right? But when I wasn't expecting that wave in this place and in this mundane time. So I guess the message I got there was just to stay more connected with that energy consciously, versus letting it linger back, just kind of drift back into the past. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Michonne.
You're welcome.
And Lily, jumping around. So Dan, let's call Lily in.
Hello, everyone. About 4 things actually struck my mind. One was at the Pyramid of the Moon, and Bob Meyer was my partner. And we were doing that We Are Remembering song, and people that we didn't even know joined us. And it was that sense of community. And the second thing that I recall is the magic of Teo when I was standing at the foot of the Pyramid of the Sun, and I saw in my mind 2 men, and they were walking toward each other. And later I spoke to Alberto, and he said there were 2 brothers, and one was blonde and one was dark-headed. And it was like this magic. And so I have a very deep sense of the mystery of Teo. The third thing I was thinking of was my teaching from this last visit. I've visited with you twice there. And my ancestor I had the most difficulty with, as many daughters, was my mother. She wanted me to be absolutely perfect, make no mistakes, And so in that process, she was quite critical in my mind. And the teaching from the trip was a child misinterprets and doesn't always understand what the parent's doing. And so I realized that the greatest gift was my mother loved me, whether she was critical or not, no matter what she did. She worked hard that my life would be good. And the fourth thing is slipping out of my mind at the moment, so I shall leave it and let it be history. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
The trip was wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, let's do Nancy.
Hi. Let's see. I thought of about at least 25 different pictures and images came into my mind. I wasn't there this past October, but the year before that, and I remember it all so vividly. It was just magical. But then I settled on the dance with the guests that we had in the evening, and I remember just feeling all that connection and all that energy in my body, and wanting to move, and as you may recall, I'd had hip surgery not too long before that, and it didn't affect me at all. I just had that wonderful feeling of the life force and the creative force within me. So that is what I want to renew now, and that experience of that creativity and community. So some of the same things came up for me though about how to continue to do that. And I see out my window here these beautiful, beautiful white birch trees. They're very old. Probably won't live a lot longer, like some of the rest of us, me included. And so I just so being outside, being in this world, being in the world around me with the trees, especially because I have a lot of them here around me, and the sky, the trees in the sky, and just absorbing that energy from them and giving back whatever I can. So it's that, and being reflective, taking some time to let it all in. I forget, and especially with this election season, I've been angry, I've been very sad, and now I'm feeling, and I'll feel those things, I know, as we go along, but I'm feeling most particularly now just a strong determination and recommitment to who I am, to remembering who I am, and to bringing that out into the world much more visibly. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Really good to see you all.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just wonderful.
So glad you could make the call.
Yes.
Yay.
I've spoken.
Good. Let's do Teresa. We'll do both Teresas back to back. So Dan, you can pick whichever one you want to bring on first. We'll do both our.
Okay, yeah, so me as well, I was there, not this year, but the previous year, my first time. And it was really a truly very healing journey for me. To me, the beauty of it was like going home to my mother's ancestors in Mexico. And that helped me heal her passing away 20 years ago. It really completed the circle for me to grieve her, and to really, I didn't have the time to grieve her completely, and that released out of my body. So it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And it was beautiful at the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl. You know, I had a lot of emotions, like from anger of her leaving, or just leaving us with my dad and my sisters being, all of us being teenagers and young, just there was like anger, resentment, and just at the end of the day, when you asked us what was the emotion there, it was that I missed her. So that was like my learning, and like I say, it was very healing to be, it was the Day of the Dead, to do the ceremony, the altar, the picture I had, it was just of her. And to even be able to speak, say it out loud, because with our family, we really didn't have that kind of closure or grieving process. So that was the main thing for me. And doing it, like I said, in her traditions, in her land, it was really what was needed to happen for me. And everything else to me, I was just like, after that, I just felt like ready to take off, like my hummingbird that I am. I felt my wings and soak it all in. And one of the beauty, the main takeaways too, was the sense of community and openness of everybody, and everybody's sharing from their heart and their soul. And that's so beautiful to me. And that's one of the things that came to me now, the message that I continue to do this work with you. I was just there last month, really, and circle with you and the monthly calls. So it keeps me connected to the community that we are. And that's really truly a gift for my soul and my spirit.
Yay.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The invitation came out of the blue to join this call. I haven't seen any of you or heard of you for so long. It is such a moving experience here. I think the answer to your question is, my answer might be cautionary. I think I was in Teokan with you 4 years ago. I think that's right. And I have lost the connection. And so this call is very important to me because the connection is there again. And I had forgotten really what an anchor it had been for me. One of the experiences I remember in particular is the discussion about caverns and caves. Will talked about this a lot. In fact, we tried to enter the cave underneath one of the pyramids and it was all closed off. And the understanding is that now caves are verboten. You don't go into caves. You don't go underground. You don't go into the darkness. And what Teokan allowed for me was that turning inward and entering inward. And it felt like a beginning to a process that I've been in these last years, which was thrown out into the world. I've literally been on the road since then. And while taking care of all the particulars of being on the road, forgetting how to be inward and certainly connected to the power of places like Teotihuacan. So cautionary in the sense that the connection is so important. So now how to keep the connection? It just happened immediately when you asked that I do that. So I think just keeping that intention, keeping that clarity, it's a very particular connection, has a very particular feel that I now recognize. And I just thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be back.
So glad to have you
See
here.
you all again.
Yay. Thank you. Wonderful. Good. Okay, so Alex just wrote in, Alexandra. Hello, I'm at work, but I thought I'd log on when there were no customers. I'll have to click off if a customer walks, but I wanted to tap in and say hello. No idea if this will work, if you'll hear me, if I'll say hello to everyone. And she's on the phone. Oh no, there you are. Let's see if we can let's try Alexandra, if we can pull you in, if there's no customers. And you can just say hi. Okay. Alexandra, are you there? Okay, we know we're there in spirit. So we're sending you love, even if we can't hear you. Okay, so Dan, let's go ahead and bring Deborah on.
Hello. So nice to see your smiling face. Oh, wow. The images, there were many, but two were strong. The strongest being my first trip to Teo in 2011, so 5 years ago. And it was my grandfather who came to me. I arrived in Teo with a lot of physical pain. I remember the first night being so cold, despite the heater and everything. But it was when we went to Quetzalcoatl that first morning with the gathering of a stone, and I had the images come back to me of my grandfather's funeral that I was not able to attend. I was only 9 years old. And he was born and raised and lived in Mexico. So he was forced to leave. So what came through was that I was still carrying a great deal of his pain from his being ripped from his country that he loved so much. So it was an extraordinary journey that whole week with my grandfather. From that moment of remembering the pain of not being able to go to his funeral, to realizing as he came through that I was still carrying his pain. And then the ability to move through the plazas and release it was huge. So that I bring with me. I see now how I bring it with me to every family gathering that I have. And I can see, like Thanksgiving, it was a beautiful, beautiful Thanksgiving this year, especially. But each time we bring up different family and ancestors and history, and it's just getting better and better. Like the ability to accept, to forgive, to just simply be with family in those circles. And there have been more and more of them. And I have to say, it's just been a very, very healing experience. So I bring Teo through that, as well as I said at the Thanksgiving table this year, my gratitude is for all the circles that I participate in, that I find myself connecting to. Teo is huge, and it comes in and feeds the circle at the table of Thanksgiving. Also the larger circles of other communities like the Earth Tribe and the Teo Wisdom Group, and so many. So Teo flows through in many, many ways of connection, and I'm very grateful for that. I have one other little image that I'd like to share, if that's okay. Last year, when we were gathering at the foot of we'd just done the walk to the moon, and we were at the base there. As I was going up the steps to gather in the group, where we were all huddled like a beehive and humming together and just calling out. It was so powerful, but just as I was walking up the steps, I put my hand on my belly button, it was just kind of a motion of getting ready to join this powerful ceremony. And a bee stung me in my belly button. And so, so it flew off, and I stepped into the hum of this beehive of Teo pilgrims, and it was so powerful. Again, the connection, with the energy of the place and the people is something I carry with me always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Great story. Okay, let's bring on Lisa Dvorak. Just wrote and said hi. She's on the phone listening and feasting on love, love, love. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa.
Hey. Good. So let's bring on Lynette.
Wow, happy
Hello.
to see you today. And what a lovely invitation. A lovely invitation just to be here today, but also to remember. And it's been a long time. And it was 2012 when I was there. And I've meant to be back every year. So that's an indication of a problem. So it was like, I just, I've been living really kind of a fragmented life. And so I was reminded of the journey and balance and the energy of being there together, and just how absolutely transformational that was for me. I thought of the lovely circle at the plaza, and just the sweetness of people who had gathered. Absolutely beautiful time. So just I was really filled with gratitude as well, to have that as part of my life. And but I guess the biggest thing is to a reminder of the balance and how the process is so important, and the journey. So, and another image another thing I remembered was the beautiful evening we spent with a gathering of Indigenous women who, it was the full moon, and we went during the night, and really just were present to the beautiful rituals and the dancing and this container that they had created. And again, a really profound experience and memory from that time. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Lynette. And let's bring on Sheila. I love all the weaving of all the different years. This is so beautiful. So you're muted, Sheila.
Okay.
There we go. You're good now.
Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
unmuting me. So
Mhm.
this has been amazing. So I have been many times, and the memory that came to me this time was my very first trip to Teo in 2011, and climbing up the steps of Quetzalcoatl, and the jaguar entered my body, and I was able to move fluidly on all fours, climbing with my paws on every step. And I realized that that connected me with this most recent trip that we just had last month, in which I was reminded that the jaguar is my ally, and the jaguar spirit showed up very strongly and powerfully during a healing session. And so I'm really grateful that Jaguar showed up, because I need Jaguar today. So for what I'm doing after this call, I now will be calling on Jaguar to assist me. And I'm grateful that Jaguar is back in my body again, consciously, after that memory. And when I asked what I could be doing to connect ongoingly, one of the things is to be wearing the stones from Teo. So this beautiful amethyst heart was a gift from Alberto. And over the years, I've collected a few different stones, that hearts. And so my reminder was that I continue to wear them. And so like today, I have a obsidian bracelet from Teo, more amethyst. And so wearing the stones from Teo is part of my, not just remembering, but actually accessing through my body the wisdom that's available that way, and also the generosity from Alberto. So, so those are the things that came to me during the meditation, and so many images flew through my mind over the years. That was really fun. It's kind of like a flashback when you see your whole life in front of you. So I got to see, like, you know, all these years of Teos in front of me, moments just flashing, and feels very nourishing and very, you know, filling of my heart. And this year especially, I got to really feel love in a whole new way that I hadn't before, and I'm so grateful for that. So I think Teo is full of surprises. And no matter how many times you go, there's always something new that really touches at a very deep level. So I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Beautiful. And Alexandra wrote, I think what I want to share is that the incredible and powerful walks to include the divine feminine and divine masculine were very healing for me. Also, after being part of the community for 4 years and that sharing Teo with the group each year is very much like family to me. The huge energy and power of the energy transmission and creation on the top of the pyramid of the sun sticks with me. Currently, I've been working with dispelling the myth that I can't hold or contain the above that I just spoke about, to move into the yes, that I can contain it and keep containing the energy of life Teo in me back in Austin. And that is the trick, is it not? Is to how to integrate. And I love what Mashan reminded us, that place of, that the archaeologist that's working with Quetzalcoatl talked about, that there's mundane time and there's sacred time, and mundane time wears away sacred time. And I think all of us have probably had that experience over the last couple weeks, that the mundane is really big right now. There's a lot that's hooking our attention. There's fear, there is trying to figure out what to do next, which is always, you know, when we plug back into our lives, our lives are so busy that it's really easy to move on that river of the mundane and forget to weave the sacred in. And to weave the sacred in, we have to be really conscious to slow down, to get grounded, to remember, to call that memory back, to bring it into our body. As Sheila said, to wear the stones, to have reminders around us to bring us back into the sacred, to reweave the sacred into the mundane. And I believe it's more important than ever for us to do that, to keep calling the sacred in and using it as almost like a thread and a needle, that we're sewing that line of the sacred through the mundane. And the more of us that are doing that, the more awareness we'll have. Mashan shared something, and then I'm going to pass it on to Will in a moment. Mashan, another integrating experience I'd like to share. Since being home, I've been trying to find birth and death certificates to prove ancestry back to an indigenous ancestor on the rolls that were taken. This has led me to Harrisburg, Illinois, Saline County, Little Egypt. I believe Will mentioned researching this place in relationship to the pyramid studies that have taken place. It's all connected. It is all connected, and beautiful that you're doing that research. And may all of us continue to call our ancestors forward, to stay connected to those ancestral lines of not only our blood ancestors, or those that are those people that raised us ancestors, but also the ancestors of Teotihuacan, the elders that walked before us there, because they are now also guides. We've been in that land, so that's really important, again, for us to keep calling that through, remembering that they always walk with us. It's not that they've forgotten us, it's that we've forgotten them. And so coming back to remembering over and over again. Good. Just double check. And Dan, if you would like to share, I don't know if you have access, and then Will, I want to pass it on to you. If you want to, I can I saw Lily has her hand up. We're running out of time, so I just want to also honor that. So first, Dan, if you want to share.
Thank you. So,
There you are.
I'm the guy behind the curtain here. Wow, so I wasn't prepared for this. I can say that what came up for me in terms of remembering was a conversation that we had around a dinner table where Emily talked about the archaeologist, and we actually had the conversation about remembering. And it continues to stay with me, and the importance of the role of remembering, because it's such an action that we can all take at any time. And Judith's songs just totally got me at the beginning of this call, besides the beauty of her voice and the beauty of that song, but just the reminder to remember. So that was the moment that came to me when you called that forward. And in terms of, staying connected, I think that one event has kept me connected to Teotihuacan, because it keeps coming back to me. And then events like we're doing today is also very important to keeping that memory fresh. And so thank you for having me on the call.
Good. And before I pass it on to Will and Judith, I just want to say one more thing, which is that I'm going back to Teo in a couple weeks to walk from the pyramids to the Basilica, to do the pilgrimage to the Virgin of Guadalupe. And so I'll be asking for prayers to carry with me. So I'll send that out December 2nd. I just wrote myself a note to request prayers for that pilgrimage. And just know I'll be carrying all of you with me. And so tap in if you want to get a little blast of Teo energy at that time.
Great.
Good. Okay, thank you so much, Heather Ash. Judith, do you have something you want to share besides the singing? Or
yes. For me, the most profound image that comes into my field of energy is Juan Carlos kneeling in front of Pedro after the Aztec dancing, and from his ethnic background apologizing for all of the massacres that happened in Mexico. That was totally unexpected. And so I take with me through the holidays that you mentioned, Heather Ash, that was a good little exercise, forgiveness and apologies when appropriate, and when it builds a bridge with another person or a family member or something like that. So this is something I'm going to carry with me in my heart, and appreciate the opportunity to have this, and appreciate so much the power of what Juan Carlos contributed and created for all of us. I'll never forget it. It's just profound. A hope.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Thank you, Judith. And I want to build on that before we have some announcements from Sheila. But I want to build on that. In fact, I think that I will hold my comments on the ceremony of apology until we have Sheila make some nuts and bolts announcements, and then we'll come back for a brief closing. Sheila, Dan's going to promote you as a visual. Okay, there you are.
Hey, and you'll see Jennifer's right here.
Oh, hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer was with us the year before last in Teo. Okay, so I have some announcements. So I'd like all of you to mark your calendar for 2017 Teo. Our dates are Saturday, October 28th through Friday, November 3rd. And we'll be sending out information about that in the next few weeks. Registration will be open around December 15th for all of you, for everyone who's been to Teo before. We're giving you your first chance to sign up because we do fill up pretty quickly. So I'll send out an email announcement to all of you when registration is available, and it will be the middle of December. And then around January 10th, I'll start promoting it to the public. So you do have about, almost a month to register before the rest of the world knows about it. And I encourage you to do that quickly because we do fill up. Also, I'll be sending you an announcement when we have, we're doing a crowd raising. We're going to do a GoFundMe campaign for the Aztec dancers to get a new van. And so right now we're exploring the best ways to do that. And we're working with Alberto and Emily and trying to come up with the best way to make that happen for them. But we will be sending out an invitation for all of you to contribute and help us create a van for the Aztec dancers so that they can travel more easily and do their dancing in many locations and benefit so many people that way. So thank you in advance for your participation in that. Okay, that's it.
Okay, good. Okay, well, thank you so much, Sheila. And let's return now as we close to that moment referenced by Sheila and also by Judith when we have the, actually, it's not really accurate to call them the Aztec dancers. They're actually, the Aztecs are part of the Mexica, from which we get the word Mexico. And that is important to keep in mind because it's much larger than just one sliver, although the Aztecs do fit in there. Well, each year we trust the sacred web of fields created as a cosmic wormhole into other dimensions in the pyramid system. And this year, we had one of our participants, Juan Carlos, who had a DNA test. He grew up in Mexico and found out that his Spanish blood is almost 100%. So he had no indigenous influence in his family from the invasion of Europeans into Mexico. And he felt that he wanted to offer an apology to the indigenous people there in Mexico. So we agreed that we would have it on the night that the Mexica Aztecs came to dance as they have in years past. It fell on my shoulders to conduct the ceremony for that apology. And in talking with Pedro, we decided that it would best be after the dance or at the conclusion of the dance. And as has been increasingly the case, the Mexica Aztec dancers invited us as a group to dance more and more with them and to chant with them and to teach them actually some of our Earth Tribe chants. They're so gracious and so embracing and so curious and offer us so much. It was beautiful for us to give just back a little bit to them. Then at the end of the dance, I'm remembering this not only for the people who were there, but all those of you who were not there. At the end of the dance, Juan Carlos knelt down and took the hand of Pedro and kissed it and made an apology. He did not ask for forgiveness. An apology in its best sense does not have the strings attached of requesting forgiveness. And Pedro, after listening to quite a litany of all of the terrible acts perpetrated on his people, said, "You took our fruit. You cut down our limbs. You cut down the trunk of the tree. But you could not damage our roots. And out of the roots is sprouting a new tree." And with love in his heart, he reached down and lifted Juan Carlos up and gave him an embrace. And every one of the indigenous people, men and women, embraced Juan Carlos. It occurred to me, even as that was happening, that we were participating in an axial moment for our planet. And that in some way, if we can reach across and offer apologies for the damage we do without requesting forgiveness. If forgiveness is there, it's wonderful, but offering the apology, then we'll go a long way to being what one of our students calls bridge walking. In fact, I invite us to think that as we walk on the avenue of the dead and the living, we are bridge walkers. Then at the conclusion, to our great surprise, Pedro and one of the elders, in fact, the keeper of the knowledge of the Mexica tribe who was there, came over and offered this chalice, which they had been using for several years. He offered in an adoption ceremony where he adopted not only Judith and me, but in a way all of us into the Mexica tribe, into the Aztec tribe, into the Toltecs. And he took out of the chalice the beautiful embers, which were still hot. And we held them together and then put them in a little plastic bag, which he requested that we bring back to our sacred grounds here, where we have sweat lodges, and bury the ashes there and cement the tie between the Pyramid Academy and Teotihuacan. And further, each year in September, they have a gathering of the indigenous people from all around Mexico at the Pyramid of the Sun. It's the only formalized ceremony inside the system of the pyramids. And last year they had 800 people there, 800 indigenous people with their flags and with all of the colors, all the tribes. And they gathered in front of the Pyramid of the Sun, and there were chanting and drumming and linking with cosmic forces for the earth today. And he invited us to come. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but he invited us to come and teach some of the chants that we were using that day, that evening. So to close today, I want to take this chalice. There's a layer of juniper, a layer of Kewaranoush sage, a layer of sweetgrass that attracts in all the good energies for our lives for the rest of the year. And then on top, there's a beautiful piece of copal that Alberto has given us. So may the juniper openness up. May the sage purify us. May the sweet grass draw the spirits to us for awareness and compassion and perception. And may Copal bind us in our deepest places to each other, to the pyramids, and beyond that, to the sacred passageways into the hidden dimensions wherein lie love and possibility. Aho.
Oh.
See you next year.